on to item 20. 20 is discussion and possible approval of a resolution of the Commissioners Court of Maverick County, Texas, authorizing publication of notice of intention to issue certificates of obligation, approving the preparation and distribution of a note of sale, official statement of private placement term sheet, and providing for the effective date thereof. Do we have a motion for that one with a waiving of the reading?
So move, Judge, with the waiving of the reading.
By Commissioner Morales, is there a second?
Second, Judge.
Second by Commissioner Cantu. We're in discussion. All right.
Could,
Ruiz, you have questions?
yes, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Could somebody talk in reference to this one, this item, the certificates of obligation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. For the record, my name is Bill Avila. I'm the bond counsel for the county and a partner at Bracewell in San Antonio. The resolution authorizes publication of a notice of intention to issue certificates of obligation, which you're required to do under the Certificate of Obligation Act. And the resolution, as we've drafted it, is for issuance of up to and not to exceed $8 million. If the court approves it, then we would arrange for publication in the local newspaper twice, and then it'll be posted on the county's website also. Throughout, up until, we're looking at September 12th to approve the sale of the bonds, the certificates. And so the notice will stay posted on the county website until that day.
Mr. Avila,
Yes, sir.
you've been doing business for us, for the county for some years past.
Yes, sir.
The reason why I'm asking you is because when I got notice, and this is the first time that I hear about this certificates of obligation. It took me by surprise,
Oh, okay.
okay? I didn't know that this is gonna be on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
We're asking for $8 million from at valorem taxes,
Yes, sir.
and trying to dissect the impact that we're trying to make. I mean, it has many reasons or trying to improve in the county. And I'll give you some: rehabilitate county buildings, equipments, land for street, roads, highway, bridges, sidewalks, etc., etc., etc.
Yes, sir.
What I don't really like is that if this $8 million, by the time we finish paying the certificates of obligation, it'll be how many years?
It can be set up to 40 years, but the plan is 20.
It's just that I'm reading that the estimated combined principal and interest required to pay the certificates on time and in full will be like $16 million.
Yes, sir. And actually, that number will go down because those numbers are based on 10 million. So that number will drop a little bit.
The interest rate is 5.0.
Yes, sir.
It's kind of high, isn't it?
Well, that's just an estimate for the notice, and you want to put a higher number than in the notice than what you think you'll sell. And I guess while we're on this conversation, I want to introduce Kevin Escobar. He's at Frost Bank, who is your financial advisor. Duncan could not attend today, so Kevin's here if you'd like further detail on the financial aspects of it. The thought is, this will be the first bond rating y'all have done, a bond issuance you've done in decades that has a bond rating. And so I'll let Kevin address it, but the thought is you will probably wind up better than the 5%, but we use that just as an estimate so that it doesn't come in higher.
It's just that I read that interest are pretty, or not too low nowadays because of when it seems that we're getting into a recession and the interest rate is going to be, would it hurt us about 5% or Kevin? What?
Sure,
What's
yeah,
the
and again, for the
projection?
record, my name is Kevin Escobar with Frost Bank Capital Markets. We serve as the county's financial advisor and have done so for a number of years. So currently, what we've projected, so that is the maximum interest rate that you'd be able to sell up to. A current market rate, or what we feel is a best conservative rate to use right now, is about 4.5%. That gives us timing between now, current market, and the anticipated sale, which is in 2 to 3 months. A current market right now, if you go out into the market today, you're looking around 4%. We think 4.5% is a conservative rate to use in the next 2 to 3 months. That payment that you're looking there, the principal and interest that is shown there on 10 million
Right.
at $8 million and a 4.5% interest rate, you're looking at closer to $12.5 million on payback. That is principal and interest.
Thank you, sir. What, and I guess this is in reference to us here. This $8 million, it's not very clear to where the money is going. And it just, this is a shotgun approach as to where the money is gonna go for this and that. But I like to make sure that it says that every precinct should get an equal share.
There's a couple of things that I'm gonna go ahead and answer that. Okay. And it's I want this to get out there for the public to know that whoever takes over as county judge, and possibly as commissioners, we don't know what commissioners will be here in January. The majority of that work is gonna be done in January. When you designate money, it's designated as a whole, not necessarily in portions. The language that you've given to this court is no different than the language that you've given before. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So it hasn't deviated from what it's always been as far as what an obligation is. Is that correct?
Yes.
And I'm bringing that up because my concern is that the interest rates are continuing to rise.
Yes.
They're continuing to go up. I would venture to say that 80 to 90% of the work that's gonna get done with that money is not gonna happen until after January, when I will no longer be there. At that juncture, if the court desires to change something, they're gonna have the right to do that. Okay. So that needs to be put out there. Okay, and I wanna clarify that too. So the work that's being done is no different than the work that's been done before. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Was there any language added to that?
No.
Okay, has anything been changed or?
Before we mentioned the Performing Arts Center, the amphitheater, I think we mentioned another building the county had bought. I mean, those were specific.
Yeah, because
but-
one was a reimbursement portion.
Yes.
We don't have a reimbursement portion. That's correct. Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Ramos.
Okay, so this money, it's a loan that the county is going out for, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I mean,
Okay.
essentially, yes, you borrowing money.
Okay, we're looking at, right now, our debt is 34 million.
Roughly, yes.
Roughly 34 by the end of this. We'll be at 42 million in debt
That's correct.
if we approve this.
Yes.
And right now, we don't, I'm with Mr. Ruiz, this is the first time I hear about this. And I just want to know, my precinct, I mean, I would have liked to have seen a plan of action for this.
Yes.
Why? Because I have a lot of needs in my precinct. Right now, I have zero budget in my budget for new water lines. That's what I have. And I would have liked to have seen something on here, a breakdown of projects.
I need to clarify that, ma'am. You have zero money for water lines because you already spent it on something else. Every commissioner here was given how much? $125,000 at the beginning of the fiscal year. You decided to use it otherwise, in something else. You have the right to do that, but don't say that you weren't given money for water lines because it's not given specifically for water lines.
On
And
my-
let me finish. If you go back to your predecessor, you mentioned the boring, your predecessor did a project out there for less than $40,000, and he got water lines out to the public. If there's something different that you want to do, you have the right to do that. No one's going to stop you from doing that with these kind of monies. But don't say that hey, I wasn't given money for water lines. No, everybody got the same amount of budget. And when people come see me, doesn't matter what your commissioners go tell them, I just bring out the budget and I say, here it is. This is what everybody got. So don't let anybody tell you that one commissioner got more money under their regular budget than the other. And there is obviously, more needs in some precincts than there are in other precincts. That's just the reality. If you guys want to come back and change that afterwards and say 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, 2 million, that's up to you. That's up to the court. You can do that.
May I, Judge?
Go ahead.
Luis, by any chance, do you have the budget there with you? You didn't bring it? On line 45 on my water plant, for new construction for water lines, I have 0. And that's why I would have liked to have seen a breakdown of where the money was gonna be presented. I would have liked a plan of action. That's it.
Judge,
Go ahead, sir.
if you recall on previous instances, we discussed this, and we knew exactly where the money is gonna go. Now, this is what I call it, just a shotgun approach, where the money is gonna go. I mean, just for what purposes? I mean, and if you're afraid that the interest rate is gonna get higher, well, let's wait until next year.
The interest rates aren't going to go lower. They're going to go higher.
Well, let's wait.
Why would I want to go out for a loan when the interest rates are higher?
What makes you think that it's gonna get higher next year? Or
Those
the,
are
or
the-
the next, or the
Those are the
following
projected
year?
forecasts that the interest rates are going to continue to increase.
The obligations of the county are gonna get higher, okay? And I object to the fact that this is
And you
just
can do that.
the
You have
fact that
and-
we don't know exactly where the money's gonna go.
Money's going.
And you have the right to object to it. You do.
I know that, that's why I'm objecting.
Okay.
Judge, man?
Go ahead, sir.
Judge, it also caught me by surprise on Friday when I saw the agenda on this. But actually, I'm very excited about this because when I go out to my precinct and look at the needs, now I have a way of getting those needs out to those residents. And addressing back what you mentioned about what we get for each precinct, that we got exact amounts. We just did 8 water connections for residents on Crane Street because we're getting ready to pave that. So when we get our budget, it's not designated for water connections, but we go and move our money around. So I say, okay, we're gonna do this 6 sewer connections, we're gonna do this 8 water connections. My budget doesn't even have an item where it says this is for a water connection, but it does have for improvements. And we go and service those residents. Yes, I still need to go service other residents at Molina Loop and other streets that we have pending, and we're working on that. But right now, we have a way of doing that with this. We have a way of doing this. We also have a way of extending watering services to residents that haven't had water for 30 years. And we have it sitting right here in our hands. And when it comes to the amount of money that we owe, the 34 million, at one time, this court, we've been a part of dropping that debt all the way from 98 million to where we're at right now. So we're very fiscal responsible when it comes to managing our debt. And I think that we can still do that and get out what our residents deserve. So I'm excited about this. Yes, it caught me by surprise. It's the first time. So if it's gonna be the first time you see it, are you never gonna bring it up? Because, okay, I haven't told everybody about this.
This
But,
is the first
I'm
step.
excited about this.
You know what? I think, Luis, you're correct, Commissioner Morales. Ms. Ramos asked you a question. The question was if you had your budget, and you don't. But is there a line item there? Is there a line item anywhere there that says anything for water lines? No.
Yes, there is.
Within the water plant, maybe?
Within the water plant.
Okay, that's,
The water
okay,
plant.
and you have a budget, and it's been given to you in the water plant. Now, I didn't come out here and publicly say, hey, she's got a water line, she's got a budget in her water plant, and nobody else does.
And I requested.
Obviously, because nobody else has water plants. And I think that we've clarified that commissioners have different entities within their precinct. Okay. And you're one of them. And I have afforded you and given you the right to operate those things the way you need to. So you don't, hold on, let me finish now. So you didn't have any less money than your predecessor as commissioner did. Okay? Nobody took money away from you.
Mayor?
I'm telling you that. You haven't answered that. If you don't want to answer it, that's fine.
No,
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say that that's exactly what I did. I had zero budget for new water lines at the water plant, and I did a budget amendment with zero budget, and we did the O'Connell project. And we opened up like 5 different accounts, and that's exactly what I did. But I
And
maximized.
that's what all the commissioners do.
Exactly, that's what I
That's what all the
did, but I don't
commissioners
have
do.
enough money to run to everybody that is
Then say
asking, and
that.
I am excited about.
Great, then say that.
about
Don't
this.
say they didn't give me money.
For the water line, on
You
the
have
water
a water plant, ma'am. You have money.
Yeah, but we
Now
have,
it's coming out. Everybody got the same amount of money. Thank
but
you
not
for
for,
agreeing to
but
that.
not for new water lines, on the water line account.
If you have the same amount of money, basically, but there are other avenues that the other commissioners have gotten more than that. You know, it's not just the basic. Everybody had the same amount of money, which is less than the previous year. You know, you start trimming things, but you're finding ways to help.
Budget,
You know, additional to that. And she hasn't gotten that kind of help. So that,
Or
the fact-
you don't feel that she's gotten that kind of help.
but the fact of the matter is, Judge, and you remember, we have gotten together as commissioners to decide where the money is gonna go. This time,
Well,
nada.
this is not the step where we decide that. Am I correct? This
Correct.
is the first step.
Yes.
Yes.
You still have time to do
We still
that.
have we still come back and say where it's gonna go.
And one of the purposes here is water and sewer system improvements. These funds should be.
And that's why I'm excited about this.
And you should, guys,
I am.
listen, seriously. I just want to take advantage of the opportunity that we have. And it's like I mentioned, by the time this thing comes to fruition, it's at the end. It's like anything else. When a new administration comes in, they're going to change things around. Nobody doubts that. But I'm not going to sit around and say, well, let's hope that the interest rate goes down if I know it's not going down. Okay. I'm going to finish what I started, and I'm here till January 1st. So whether the commissioners may or may not like the way we're going to go in the direction, I can completely understand that. But if the interest rate is there, I'm going to take advantage of it. If you came back to me and told me it's going to be 6.5 or something, I go, I'm not going to go backwards. Okay. The onus is on you guys too. And you know that. You've already dealt with us. You've dealt with us when we said that's not enough. It's got to be better. So when it does come in, it's going to come in for you guys, and you all more than likely are going to decide where it goes. That's it. I do know one thing for sure, you two will be here. Okay? And I do want the best for all of you. You two will be here. The rest of us, I know I won't for sure. Rosie won't for sure. We don't know who's going to be.
You won't be in the ballot, that's
That's
for
right.
sure.
That's correct. I
I
just
am
said
gonna
that.
be in the ballot, so don't give me this idea that I'm like, not sure whether I'm gonna be or not. Just
No,
say
no.
what it-
We only know for certain that these are the two that will be here in that administration.
I know that.
That's it.
But you
You
know,
don't have to get mad. I'm just saying. I already said, yeah, I'm not going to be here.
that's right.
Okay.
You're not gonna be here.
That's right.
So we're making decisions for the future for every county.
Because I'm going to do my job till the very last day, whether you like it or not.
It's not that I
That's
like
what
it,
I was
sir.
elected.
It's not what I like it. It's just that you're in the final stages. You're making things that,
And I'm not going to stop doing my job.
well, that's what they call a lame duck
Call it
decisions.
whatever you want. I
That's
can
what
call
I'm
you a
calling
lot of things. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed, same sign.
I oppose.
We have 4 in favor. Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ramos, Commissioner Cantu, and myself. 1 opposed, Commissioner Ruiz.